welcome to RMU Live. I'm Kaylee Whitlatch.
And I'm Julia Wozleski. Here's what's happening now.
The forecast this week is in for some major changes. Bethany Naughton has the information on the big changes heading our way.
It's looking like a huge drop in temperatures are going to bring the chill tonight into tomorrow. Bethany, take it away.
Thank you, guys. Today's forecast is going to be a high of 86 with a low of 60. And then there is also going to be a chance of tornado warnings and large hail and damaging wind gusts. And our hourly is going to be, and then humidity is going to be 66, and then a chance of precipitation is going to be 84. And then tomorrow's forecast is going to be 64 with a low of 45, which don't forget to bring your jackets. Huge change. And then humidity is going to be 66, and chance of precipitation is going to be 64. And then stay tuned for a 5-day forecast. We're going to send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Bethany. The Salvation Army has been getting supplies ready to ship out to victims of Hurricane Fiona. The local Green Tree warehouse has supplies for victims, but the locations in Puerto Rico are prepared as well. The Brothers Brother Foundation is also helping out. They have medical supplies, tarps, hard hats, and other supplies for the people affected by the hurricane. Both organizations are looking for donations in order to continue helping those in need. If you are interested in donating, you can find information on the Salvation Army or Brothers Brother website.
Concept that what she's proposing is the right thing.
D.C. Council Chairman Phil Mendelson today briefed reporters on Tuesday's legislative session when he thinks the council will approve the mayor's proposal for an Office of Migrant Services, especially after Texas buses dumped these migrants outside the vice president's house just last week.
That system will be quickly overwhelmed if we continue to see the influx of bust migrants.
Mayor Bowser repeated today that D.C.'s homeless system is not set up to deal with migrants. The new one would be.
That has a staffing presence mostly to deal with what has become a chaotic situation of buses coming anytime, anywhere, with people who have been, quite frankly, lied to.
Migrants put up in D.C. hotels seem to like the idea, as we informed them.
If the government is going to open an office for migrants, it would be great, because right now we see a lot of immigrants from Venezuela in many places.
Councilmember Nadeau is sponsoring the council's bill.
These are folks who have to get to appointments with immigration services, who have to get to court. So what we're trying to do is help them go the place that they meant to when they entered the country, where their sponsor is, where their support system is, and for those who remain, helping them get on their feet.
Thank you. An explosion in Chicago apartment building has injured 8 people. Injuries are ranging from mild to severe, and some are in critical condition. The company that provides the gas to the building has issued a statement indicating that the explosion is not due to their equipment. The investigation is still underway.
A mother and her 3 children that were killed in a fire in Mercer County last week have been identified. 33-year-old Elizabeth Seltzer and her 3 children, ranging from ages 1 to 6, were identified using dental and medical records, according to the coroner. A 5th person, a child, was also found in the farmhouse that broke into flames midnight Thursday. The causes of death have not been determined, and state police and a fire marshal are investigating the cause of the blaze.
A 53-year-old man from Bridgeville, Pennsylvania has pled guilty to felony charges for his role in the January 6, 2021 breach of the United States Capitol. According to court documents, Kenneth Grayson went at a rally entered the grounds of the Capitol illegally. He entered through the Senate wing doors around 2:20 p.m. and went to the crypt along with the rotunda area. Mob rioters stood in front of law enforcement officers and attempted to gain access to the next hall. He left around 3:07 p.m. He live-streamed on his Facebook and was arrested 20 days later and faces a statutory maximum of 5 years in prison and potential fines. His sentencing is scheduled for December 19th.
Police were called in Mount Washington after reports of 2 people falling from a balcony. It happened at Sadaleo's Bar and Lounge around 2 a.m. Tuesday. A male was taken to the hospital in critical condition, while a female was transported in stable conditions. Both individuals had head injuries. KDKA News tried contacting the city's Department of Permits, Licenses, and Inspection to find out if the deck was up to code, but the office is only open on Mondays. The incident is still under investigation.
That's what's happening in Pittsburgh and beyond. Find out what's happening here at RMU after the break.
All of this and more here on RMU Live.
To field trips with my school.
Not having to think about putting on a mask.
I really can't wait to get back to life, really.
I miss all my friends. I miss taking pictures in school.
An expression on someone's face when you do something nice for them.
COVID-19 vaccines are available, and they're the first step to safely getting back to things we miss most. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccines.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 30 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people.
It's time to make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccines. The dangerous new Delta variant is more than twice as contagious as the original virus and can affect anyone. Right now, 9 out of 10 hospitalizations and deaths from COVID are among unvaccinated people. Getting vaccinated might save your life, and there's now an option that's fully approved by the FDA. Learn more at getvaccineanswers.org.
Honorary Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear. Because for years, he's only said,
only you can prevent wildfires.
But there's a lot more to say. Like, if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So keep the animals safe, especially the cute shirtless one. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Welcome back to RMU Live.
Here's what's happening here on campus. Documentary filmmaker Lasse Lau is teaching a film course at RMU this semester. Earlier this month, the Denmark-born artist visited Robert Morris University's Wheatley Center for a meet and greet with students and staff. Let's take a look at how it went.
My name is Lasse Lau. I'm a documentary filmmaker and a visual artist, and I've been doing this line of work for about 20 years.
Last Wednesday, the RMU Arts and Humanities Department hosted a meet and greet with this year's visiting documentary filmmaker, Lasse Lau. Students and faculty got the chance to talk with Lau while enjoying some light refreshments. I asked him what it is about the documentary genre that makes it his favorite.
I think reality is much more surprising than what you can make up in your mind in fiction. You can only plan so far, and then you get off on the set, and then something is always going to happen, and it always surprises you much more than a fiction, which is just totally fully planned.
Lau will be teaching a documentary production class here on campus. I asked him what advice he would give to students pursuing a career in filmmaking and the arts. His answer may surprise you.
Accepting failure and seeing failure as an artistic tool. We have an idea of what we're going to do, and then things are not going to look like it. Because a video, a lot of technical challenges, and you come back and the material doesn't look like how you're imagining it. But there's a lot of power to that. It brings your creativity going. And suddenly you have to sort of like figure out, how do I solve this? So these failures are not always failures, that are actually just sort of an artistic challenge.
For RMU Century Media, I'm Jack Enterline.
Thanks, Jack. I Prevail's True Power Tour visited the UPMC Event Center last Friday. The band opened with the band Yours Truly, a band from Sydney, Australia, and they performed with some big names in metal, rock, and punk. They also performed on the birthday of their lead guitarist, Teddy Winder-Heron. Next, Texas band Fit for a King performed. They brought the energy and the crowd got excited. Then Pierce the Veil from California took the stage. This was the band's first concert in 5 years, and they brought the energy. Then I Prevail took the stage, and the crowd loved the show, and they even performed an encore. Next, pop singer Conan Gray is set to perform at the UPMC Event Center tomorrow night. This platinum-selling singer, known for his hit song Heather, is promoting his sophomore album Super Ache. The album released in June and is his biggest headlining tour. The show begins tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. and students and faculty must move their vehicles from the upper UPMC Event Center and Washington gravel lots in preparation for the show.
The Academic Media Center hosted an open house today from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Students and faculty got the chance to explore the different technologies the AMC uses, such as the animation lab, newsroom, control room, radio room, and more. Food and treats were provided, including a hot dog truck. For more information, students can visit the newsroom located directly by Patrick Henry Center and Hopwood Hall.
This weekend is Family Weekend at RMU. Parents are encouraged to come up and spend the weekend with their RMU students. Friday, magician Maiko Misko will be at the Massey Theater, and the event is sponsored by Student Life. Saturday is the Colonials football game versus East Tennessee at noon at the Joe Walton Stadium. There's also a pre-game hospitality tent at 10 a.m. in the Joe Walton Stadium Plaza. Then men's soccer versus Purdue Fort Wayne at 2 at the North Athletic Complex. Finally, there is a post-game dinner with wings for $14 in the PNC Cafe. Finally, Sunday is family yoga at 9:30 a.m. in the rec center that is sponsored by Campus Recreation, and a women's soccer game versus Detroit Mercy at 1 p.m. at the North Athletic Complex.
Today is the RMU Day of Giving. This yearly fundraiser raises money for students in and out of the classroom and provides resources they need to launch their careers. So far, the university has raised over $80,000 and have almost 400 donors out of their 500 donor goal. Donors can give to the Campus Experience Fund, the Athletics Department, Greek Life, or any of the 4 major schools in the university. The link to donate can be found on rmu.edu.
Congressional candidate Chris Deluzio is coming to RMU in an event that will be hosted by the Political Science Club and College Democrats. He will be visiting the university on October 13th at 12 p.m., and he's running for the Senate seat that Connor Lamb has held from January of 2019 to January of 2023. He is currently a voting rights attorney and a policy director for Pitt Cyber. The 17th district is a toss-up district, according to the Cook Political Report.
That's what's going on here at RMU. After the break, we find out how COVID-19 is impacting campus and beyond.
Stay with us on RMU Live.
Anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Volver a vivir esos momentos comienza con protegerlos contra el COVID-19 y sus peligrosas variantes nuevas. Obtén la información más reciente en detidepende.org o consulta con tu pediatra o proveedor de servicios médicos.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Hey, boss. Okay?
Said I'm fine.
See you in the morning with the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it, and we lost it. In my head, in my head, in my head. We were underlay in my head.
Hey, son.
Hey, Bob.
You know you can talk to me.
Yeah.
Welcome back to RMU Live.
The FDA has information on what they are calling a new public health crisis. Let's take a look. There's a public health crisis just waiting to happen. That's how U.S. Food and Drug Administration Commissioner described nicotine gummies when it came to our nation's youth. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on the concern of these products and what parents need to know.
First, there were flavored cigarettes, then e-cigarettes, now flavored gummies made with nicotine. The concern over this product so great, it's prompted an FDA warning.
These things can be discreet, easily concealable, and they can look just like candy.
Last month, the FDA sent this warning letter to one of the companies that makes nicotine gummies, advising that their products were not FDA approved and being sold illegally.
When you looked at the gummy packs themselves, we're talking about, at least in this company, 12 gummies per pack. Each gummy had about 1 milligram of nicotine. When you look at what's toxic to young children, anywhere from 1 to 4 milligrams, so that's 1 to 4 gummies, can be toxic to young kids.
The company, VPR Brands, didn't respond to a request for comment. Their website says the products are for adults and that the gummies have been discontinued. But other companies may be appealing to kids with other candy-looking nicotine products in the form of lozenges or gum. In a recent study, about 10% of 9th and 10th graders surveyed reported use of e-cigarettes, and more than 3% chose oral nicotine products. Large amounts could be dangerous.
Nausea, vomiting, changes in blood pressure, seizure, coma, and even death. Not to mention that nicotine is addictive and also can affect the growing brain in terms of potentially causing learning and memory problems.
Health experts say parents should be aware and talk to their children about the dangers. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Thanks, Mandy. The American Lung Association has criticized the FDA, saying that the gummies were on the market for about 6 to 9 months before the agency sent its warning letter. A spokesperson for the organization says that there is a sign that it will probably be many more kid-friendly nicotine products to come.
The COVID-19 pandemic is still impacting the campus community and beyond. There are 7 RMU students currently in isolation and 3 employees. Those in isolation have tested positive for the virus, and they are off campus and in campus, on campus and off campus. Faculty and students are advised to take necessary precautions to prevent the spread of the virus, including getting tested and isolating when exposed or showing symptoms, and not attending class when sick.
Currently in Pennsylvania, there are 2,667,423 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Pennsylvania, along with 571,000 probable cases of COVID-19. There are 49,000 deaths, and there were 42,424 new cases of COVID per day.
Across the nation, there have been 54,000 new cases of COVID daily, and 4,000 of those are hospitalized daily. There are over 350 deaths daily. The case numbers in the United States have been on a downward slope. However, the CDC recommends precautions be taken as hospitalizations and deaths are still being reported.
If you suffer from anxiety, depression, or loneliness, you may be at higher risk of developing long COVID-19. A new study published in the JAMA Psychiatric said people common with psychiatric issues have up to a 50% chance of developing long-term COVID-related symptoms. That includes breathing problems, brain fog, chronic coughing, and overwhelming fatigue. Researchers looked at medical data from nearly 55,000 people. Scientists say that they adjusted for demographics, body weight, smoking status, and medical history. Researchers say participants with 2 or more types of psychological distress had the higher risk. One of the authors of the study said that when you're depressed, anxious, your immune system doesn't work as well against targets like viruses and bacteria.
You say tomato, I say tomato. But what about this thing? Apparently, it tastes, smells, and even looks kind of like a tomato. Makes sense, because it is a tomato. It's just purple. The genetically modified produce was developed by a team of scientists and just got USDA approval, clearing the way to be sold at a grocery store near you. And this tomato isn't just pretty and purple. The scientists who made it say it has more antioxidants and a longer shelf life than garden variety red tomatoes. The next step is to get the thumbs up from the FDA. Then it's off to store shelves.
After the break, we find out this week in Pittsburgh and RMU sports are going.
And then we get one last look at the weather, bringing a huge drop in temperatures. Stay with us on RMU Live.
Every day,
Millions of people
are connecting. And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
To get to know each other
on a deeper level.
Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward. Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
Yeah! Sam, Elmo!
Oh, hey, Julia. Are you ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's going to play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Can I get the now bar, please?
$1.
Have a good one.
Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure.
$1.
Appreciate you.
You got it.
Welcome back to RMU Live.
Let's take a look at Pittsburgh's and RMU sports and this week's weather.
Another week of Pittsburgh and RMU sports is among us. Michael Deemer has all the details on how our local teams are performing.
Thanks, guys. The Steelers played host to the New England Patriots on Sunday. Two familiar head coaches played with new quarterbacks as Mitchell Trubisky faced off against Mac Jones at Acrisure Stadium. It was the first time neither Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady weren't on the field for a Steelers-Patriots game since 1998. The Steelers couldn't get their offense going as they only had 3 points in the first half and trailed throughout the game. The Patriots got their first win of the season as they won 17-14. Trubisky had 168 passing yards with a touchdown and interception, while Najee Harris only had 68 yards on the ground for Pittsburgh. The Steelers would travel to Cleveland and face the Browns, who are also 1-1. The Pirates are wrapping up their last 2 weeks of the season as they have a 4-game series against the NL East leading New York Mets. The Bucks were swept in the series in Citi Field. In Game 1, the Pirates lost 7-1 and had 4 hits all ballgame. Michael Chavis knocked in the only run for Pittsburgh. O'Neal Cruz hit a home run the next day in a 4-3 loss. Also in the next day, the Bucks scored 2 runs in the 8th inning in hopes for a comeback, but fell short. In Game 3, the Mets took a 5-0 lead, while Rodolfo Castro hit a home run in the top of the 9th, which ended being the only run for Pittsburgh. The final game on Sunday, after the Mets took an early 3-0 lead, the Pirates scored 3 of their own in the 6th inning to tie the game, including an O'Neal Cruz hitting another bomb for his 17th of the year. But a 4-run 8th by the Mets blew it open as New York won 7-3. RMU men's soccer was in Milwaukee on Saturday. UNC Greensboro transfer Chase Gilley scored his hat trick against the Panthers en route to a 5-0 win. Gilley has won back-to-back Horizon League Player of the Week honors, and Frederick Pacelli also won Defensive Player of the Week last week. The women's soccer team were also in Milwaukee on Sunday. The Colonials were unbeaten until Sunday when they lost 9-1. The Colonials lost their first game and now have a record of 5-1-3 and 0-1-1 in conference play. The volleyball team played in Boogies Creek, North Carolina at the Fairfield Inn Suites Dunn Campbell Invitational. The Colonials faced NC Central, which they swept the Eagles in 3 sets. Later in the day, the Colonials were swept in 3 sets to host Campbell. The next day, they lost again to the Citadel 3-1 to finish the tournament with an overall record of 1-2. Now that's all from sports. Let's go back to Kaylee and Julia.
Thanks, Michael. A huge drop in temperatures are coming tonight into tomorrow.
Will we finally feel some fall weather? Bethany Naughton has the forecast for us.
Thank you, guys. Just in case you did miss, today's weather is going to be 86 with the low 60. Humidity is going to be 68 with the precipitation of 30%. And tomorrow is going to be 64 and with the low of 45. Make sure you wear your jackets. Don't forget. Humidity is going to be 66. And let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. On Wednesday is going to be 86 partly cloudy with a chance of rain, low 60. Thursday is going to be 64 with a low 45. Friday is going to be partially cloudy with a low 61 and with a low 44. Saturday is going to be 65 with a low 53. And then Sunday is going to be 64, partially cloudy with a chance of rain, 51. Make sure you wear your scarves, all that kind of good stuff, and make sure you have a good weekend. And we're sending it back to the desk.
Thanks, Bethany. On to some news from the entertainment industry. David Harbour from Stranger Things is set for a new project based on a video game. The actor is known for his beloved character Jim Hopper in the Netflix series. And we'll take a look at a sneak peek from the new horror movie Pearl heading to theaters. Let's take a look into the world of movies in today's Hollywood Minute.
I'm always trying to watch and interested in certain art movies, but always trying to get into the art. And really, at the end of the day, I love a good comic book movie. So,
David Harbour, the Red Guardian himself from Black Widow and the upcoming Thunderbolts, is getting revved up for the latest video game franchise to be turned into a movie. Harbour is set to star in Gran Turismo, an adaptation of the video game racing series that sold more than 80 million copies worldwide. Neil Blomkamp, director of District 9 and Elysium, has signed on to direct. Gran Turismo speeds into theaters next August.
We're looking for someone with X Factor. Has to be me.
It's definitely her. Mia Goth stars in the new horror movie Pearl, a prequel to X, which came out in March. And it turns out she's getting a trilogy. A24 has greenlit a third film in the horror franchise, with Goth's character heading to Hollywood in the 1980s. The title, Maxine with 3 X's. Guess what kind of movies she's looking to make. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Thank you. Musician Post Malone is on the mend after falling and bruising his ribs during a concert. The incident happened about an hour into his show in St. Louis on Saturday, and you can see how he fell through an opening on the stage. Malone was down for about 10 minutes but got up and finished the performance. He was taken to the hospital afterwards for x-rays, which he revealed that his ribs were not broken. In a video on social media, Malone thanked his fans and said he was ready to keep on with the tour. Musician Post Malone is on the mend after falling and bruising his ribs during a concert.
Well, that's all for us today here on RMU Live.
I'm Julia Wozleski, and this has been Kaylee Whitlatch.
Have a great rest of your week.